Do what you love and the money will follow. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Doug Warby, and this is second in the series. You know, that whole adage, do what you love and the money will follow, is something that I totally live by, but I don't think it applies to everybody. I just feel like I found something I really wanted to do early, and I focused on it, and I did it with all my might. You know, in the last episode, I was talking about doing stuff to create content for your reels and going out and just shooting. And I wanted to just walk you through some of what I had done. No one's gonna hand you anything. You gotta go out and get it. Now, if you wanna be an artist, you know, you gotta go do your art. You know, the hardest thing to do is focus on what it is you wanna do. For me, it started out as editing. Once I understood what editing was, I did everything I could to become an editor and learn everything I could. And again, that was before digital, so I was working on videotape, and it was a blast. I locked myself into the editing bay, and on weekends at night, I would work late until I really learned how to do it. Then one day I was assisting, and the editor didn't show up. He called in, he was caught in traffic. So I sat in, and that was it. That was the beginning. It was difficult, but I really enjoyed the process once I got a hang of it. So what I wanted to do today was go through some of the things that I had created. So this first spot, the first thing I ever did was for the New Pickle Family Circus. Okay, here it is, and I'll play it and then walk you through it a little bit, some of the anecdotes that happened during it, and I'll do this for all of them. I'll post these on my channel as well. So here's the first one. So that was pretty simple, but I was very new to directing at that time. Actually, that was the very first piece I ever directed, and I had in my editing bay, I had a Super 8 camera, and I mounted it on an animation stand, and I just had some type printed, and we kind of shot them to make them feel really old. I figured the Super 8 film, all the grain, the low light, it kind of felt right for that kind of freak show kind of feel. And through a connection of mine who was a special effects guy, created that pickle on the high wire, and he animated that for me. So between that, gathering the type, finding the music, the voiceover, we created that first one, and that one actually won a D&AD award. Very first thing I ever did. The people I collaborated on with that entered it, and it won for best low budget. I think, you know, the whole thing cost us like maybe my time and maybe the printing, maybe it was $500 in total. So that was kind of fun. This next one, again, through friends. I have a friend who's in the music business, and he had this band called Ivy, and I really wanted to start directing after editing for, I think, over 10 years. I felt like it was time to venture out. So this one, the band was touring, they were very new, and I had been using one of their tracks called I Hate December for a movie that I was cutting at the time, called Farmer and Chase. I'll also post the trailer for that as well. But that song was in my mind over and over and again because I was using it as a track, and I just had an image of what I wanted to do for that. So I created this piece. The first thing that I ever directed on location. This was shot at Bix Restaurant in San Francisco. I thought it really fit the mood. The band was just coming off touring, as I said, and here's the introduction of Dominique Durand, who is the lead singer, and the guy on the right there is Adam Schlesinger, famous for Fountains of Wayne, among scoring lots of different television shows and films, including That Thing You Do. And that's Andy Chase there on the left. He's the writer of the song and also a very prolific producer and very good friend of mine. So we shot this on 16mm, super grainy. Again, I wanted that kind of William Claxton feel to it. And I was really happy with this one. Unfortunately, Adam Schlesinger there on the right passed away, one of the first well-known people to die of COVID in 2020. This was such a great project, such a great first directing project. I feel very honored that they trusted me. This film was shot by Rachel Liebert, and the assistant gaffer is Andy Lillian, who later was a big collaborator and now is an incredible cinematographer in his own right. And those are all my friends and co-workers that all showed up this Saturday in the downstairs of Bix Restaurant in San Francisco. Again, I'm posting this in my channel so you can watch it if you want to see the whole thing. And they also did another version of this, which is more like a mixed club beat version. I'll try to get that posted as well. So again, using friends, family, whoever I could get to help me do this, that worked out really cool. Okay, this next spot is something I had written based on my experience being in a Chinese restaurant. And this was the first spot that I got help from someone other than myself producing it or, putting it together. This was done through Kaboom Production, who I later signed with, and it was the start of my team using art department Dwayne Platt. Rachel Liebert was the cinematographer, and Lisa Ewell was my producer, and it was so fun to see this story come to fruition. This was all based on my own experience. Nobody was like giving me a script or telling me what to do. The only way that I was able to do it was to put it together myself with the help of Kaboom. And we had to wait for it to get processed, dailies, and then color corrected after I finished it. I also want to shout out to Jay Shilliday. He was the mixer, and it all came together. And I placed it in a truck stop, so you hear trucks in the background. And
when you really, really need to clean your hands, Purell Instant Hand Sanitizer.
A few things about that spot. I got completely sick after that, maybe the worst flu I've ever had, because I was sitting in that bathroom, which was in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, for 4 hours straight, and my video tap was over a urinal. And I just remember being so relieved that we finished that, but I got so sick after it. And again, that was shot on film, and 16 millimeter film, I believe. And, you know, we had to wait for it to get processed, dailies. Anyways, that was a blast. What did I learn from that? You can apply your own real life experience to it, something, and create, you know, a beautiful little spot. I had so much fun on that spot. One of my favorite. I never know what happened to that actress, but she was terrific. I think we brought her in from LA, courtesy of Kaboom Productions, which was great. So this next spot is a spot that I wrote based on my own experience being a father to a young child, and some of the anxieties that came along with that, and also being kind of obsessed with film. I got to work with this great actor, John Piricelli. I hope I pronounced it right. He's now on Barry. He was on Twin Peaks. I see him all over the place. He's one of the best improv people I've ever met. And, you know, I asked him for a favor and he did it. This was when he lived in San Francisco before he moved to LA, and I adore his work. And then the little girl is my daughter, who, you know, being my daughter, I didn't need to have a school teacher or anything. It was just her and my wife at the time, and we kind of just rallied together and shot this around her naps. And I shot it with this great DP who was the director of photography for the movie that I was producing and editing during that period. The movie was called Farmer and Chase. Again, I'll add the trailer to that movie there. And this is another example of just putting your thoughts together, you know, storyboarding it out and just kind of throwing it together, and, you know, asking friends and families for movie references that they liked and wanted to do. So kind of a menagerie of ideas and sources, and this is what I came up with. Enjoy it.
That was good in a lot of ways, but I need more. See, because they're gonna need more. Okay, let's try it again. Stella!
Stella!
Stella! Sweetie, I'm not buying it. Something like this. I'm ready. Maybe something with your hands. Good. I'm ready for my close-up now, Mr. DeMille. Okay, you're not a bird. You're not a bird. You're. Do you want to? Somebody's. Is that your phone, sweetie? To infinity and beyond! Do you want some water? Let's try it again. Luke, I am your father. No. No, I filed an extension. No, sweetheart, on your mark.
Luke.
Then point. You're doing great. Really. Let's do it without the ball. If you could just focus, sweetie. I know you're doing your best. The lights are bright in show business, all right? So you got to get used to it. Huh? You talking to me?
Okay, it's always fun to watch that spot and see my cute little daughter at the time. And boy, has she grown up, now 25 years old, just about. So yeah, use what you can, what's at your disposal when you can to get it done. What you'll notice about those spots too, which is kind of fun, it was before HD. I know, I'm old. Those are all, you know, 4x3, your standard old television set before they went HD, and everything that you just saw was shot on film, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It was a great way to learn, because you appreciate every frame you're shooting. Everything counts in film. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. And pass it on to a friend.